everyone, today I'm going to show you a demonstration of this beautiful gentle cat in a black color and a nice bluey browny background, and it shows that it's fade to the background and it's a really nice and gentle sit, the position I mean. So in watercolor actually, first of all I'm going to start the quick drawing, and then we are applying by paint on our paper. And the paper that I'm going to use is Arches, and the size is 8 by 10 inches in cold press and 100% cotton. So first of all, imagine that about the top and bottom of our cat, and do the drawing. Just mention about the top of the head. It plays on the center of the paper and exactly reach the bottom of our paper. So the line of top of the head is in angle. So I draw one line like that, and then it looked like the square shape. I try to mention about both side, left and right, like this shape. And then there is no ending here because the bottom part of the mouth is connect to the neck and the body. So I move on like this kind of triangle shape to make this, and then come down. I do a little bit drawing dark to be visible, but when I want to add the paint on top, because all these light colors should be really clean and there is no dark line, better not to be visible. Because of that, I draw first and then erase the line and then apply with the paint. And this is the other side of, and just right with the paint we can do this beautiful movement that shows it's a fairy hair of cat. So this is about this big shape. The ears is nice and triangle on top of the head, and it's an angle. One side here, the other is a little bit come down. Inside is lighter, and the other one is like that, come here and then move down. It's not really pointy, so I'm not doing tape a little like curvy, and then just a bit, let me. So the good things about watercolor, after you draw, if you draw it very light, you can gently erase it and remove those dark line on the paint thing, on the drawing. So this is about the shape here, and I would like to show this cat is sitting like that. So the part of the chest, which is dark, come here. It goes inside a little bit to show the position of two hands. It's like that, and then come down, and I separate the right part, the white color part, a little bit by this line, and it's not really visible like this, the finger or something. It's just happened by accident of the paint. And the other is come like this, reach here. This part is good for ending the body. A little bit on this side is visible, and the rest is the back of the cat. So I come out a little bit to show that this cat is sitting, but it's because of the technique that it works like wet on wet technique. If you see here is fade to the background, so I just show like that, and then the rest is fade to the background. A little bit of this foot is visible too, like that, just this movement. This is the whole shape of our cat's body, and then we can move on for the features. So the features of the face, if we put the pencil like that, all is in angle because it's look like the head is position of the head is like this. So the top is like in an angle, eyes in angle, nose and mouth all in angle. So, and it's white and black. So I draw equal this line parallel, another line to place the eyes correctly, and then even the nose and mouth. So when I try to draw the top of the eyes. It's come from this line of the ears, if you want to know. Just a nice seeker from the top, and then a little bit gentle curve on the bottom, and the pupil is oval shape, but a little fat oval shape. So this is good for the eyes, so we can do it everything by paint more accurate. And for mouth and nose, I separate just this shape between the eyes. I separate that to mention this is the white part, and then it's more easy to draw the nose and mouth. So this is the nose. It comes down one line and one line like this, and the mouth is like a line with two C-curve connect to the body, to the face. So this is the whole shape of drawing. Okay, now we finished with the drawing, and then I erase a little bit to make it lighter, and we would like to start our painting. So I do apply with the paint. I put this aside, and I'm going to bring the palette. So this is the watercolor palette that we can have, and our painting has a limited colors, so we don't need to have all these colors, but I have this one is ready to use, and each time I do spray on top, and then all the paint gets fresh and ready to start. We need two different size of brush. If you have like the round shape would be better, because I more prefer to do with the round brush. One bigger size for hold the painting, and the other is smaller for the details like the features and everything like that. So our painting is we can do wet on wet technique, we can do dry on wet technique, but I would like to finish with the background first and then move on to work on a cat. Or we can do on the other side, we can work on our cat and then apply with the background. So we can go with any of these techniques that we are happy with. I'm going to start with the white part that we have here on the body and a face. So which is this one, which is this part of the body. So I'm going to start with that, even this and this, all the light color that we have on our cat. And if you see, this white color is exactly the white of paper, and the rest, which is this grayish bluish, is mixing the paint. So if we want to make that color, we need a little bit blue. I'm going to add the light blue color here, and we need a little bit brown. The first layer is better to be more watery and washy, and the brown that I'm going to use a little bit reddish brown. So this is a light color, but still we need lighter than this. So I apply with the water. Always need the napkin to have in your hand and control this amount of water. It's so juicy, so turn your brush like this to dilute whole layer of brush, and then touch the napkin very gently. Apply with the side of nose, which is a little bit lighter, should be like that. You can hold the brush and then add the gently tone. It's so light, and then wash the brush with the water, controlled by napkin. Just would like to disappear the edge, even touch the napkin to reduce the amount of darkness. And I need to keep some part light. Always have a clean other napkin to touch the part that you don't need add any paint on it. Just pressure and not any rub in your painting. And then this is the part of the neck. I'm going to add a little bit tone. I use hold the hair of brush, lay down hold the hair into the paint, and then use like that. This is the wet on dry technique. So the paper is dry and the paint is wet, and you see I just go with the brush stroke. I'm not color it, and I just go with the whole brush and just add some tone. Even here I would like to keep this part completely white of the paper, so I'm not adding any tone on that part. And I'm going to a little clean the water with the clean the brush with the water, add more blue here, a little bit more watery, and just work on this part to add another tone. And even I need another tone to bring here as a blue, like that. So if you would like to disappear this edge, not to be visible, just with a clean brush, touch the napkin a little bit. When the surface is wet, very gently touch the edge. It's already helped that this hard line disappear from the edge of our cat here, and then fade to the white of the paper. So this is good for the white part, and then even I keep some part as a white of paper to be visible, even the tiny part. That's interesting. And now I would like to make some grayish, like a darker tone. And sorry, before to move on, I would like to apply here and here as well. So a little bit blue, more bluey, and then the top of the hand like this. We just need to apply a little bit the bottom part, just with one brush stroke, and that's enough. We don't need to overwork on it. Always we mentioned in watercolor, less is more, so better not to overwork. Just one time would be enough. Even if any part you don't want to add any paint on it and you would like to use the white of paper, just when it's wet, use the napkin to touch that part and lift up some paint from that part. So this is about the white color that we already have in our cat. All these light color that we have, just on the shadow part we have a little bit movement, like here, here and there. So now everything is okay. Let it a little completely dry, and then we apply with this darker color on top. So until this colors get dry, we can make the dark color. If you have Payne's Gray, that's the good option to use Payne's Gray for the rest of the body, because it's too dark. But if we don't have any Payne's Gray, we can make that by brown and blue. So any dark brown we have like this, it's a burnt umber, with darker blue, which is ultramarine blue. If we mix them together, we already can make some dark color close to this blacky tone, and it's a really nice color if you want to use. So I think it would be okay to start apply on a paper, and very gently I use tip of brush because we have a lots of narrow part, and I start from the ear, very gently put the paint here. Make sure the light color that you already have should be completely dry, and then I'm going to apply with the tip exactly like a nice tiny edge here, and then move on. Some part it's nice to have a lighter tone, some part it's nice to have a little darker. So light and dark in watercolor happen by the amount of water. If you have more water in your paint, it get lighter. If you have less, it get darker. And then when I'm close to each part, like the center of the mouth, the eyes, I try to use exactly the tip of brush, and very gently, because these are the small part, and if I go with the thicker part of the brush, can totally cover everything, and I don't want that. Very gently. So slowly I just add the paint on top. I know some part it's so darker than the light gray, but that's fine. I play with the colors, shape and form it with the tip, and it's still wet, so I have a chance to apply one more time. So some part is still wet, I move on with more paint and less water this time. When you apply with more paint and very less water on top of this watery brush stroke, it can sit on top, blend a little bit, but there is no stain create, and very gently it can sit on top. So make sure the second layer should be really less water to use and more pigment we need. So slow and gently always be adding the paint, and then move on for the right side. I'm very careful around the eyes. Use the tip of brush. Even when you use the big size of brush, it's better to use tip of brush always on a small part. And then move down. I'm not working on the eyes. First finish the face and then see where I would like to move on. And even if I want to have lighter gray here, I wash the brush, just clean by napkin. So I already cleaned the brush, but it's still wet. From the other side, come back to the darker paint and try to leave a little white into the darkness, and from that darkness bring it to this section. So it's already disappear. For the rest, I'm going to add a little bit darker brown, blacky grayish color. The surface is wet. When I add one heavy paint on top, can spread and sit very nicely. But I don't cover all the part with just the dark color. You see this movement which is light, this movement which is light, that's very nice. And then move on to the ear. So a little come inside. There is some brush stroke we need to do, and I will do them later. There is so light here, but I let this dark color get dry and then add more paint on top. And move on to the body now. So this part of the body, I can make more paint with the brown and blue, or I can use this grayish color. Both are fine. So again, very gently, because I would like to show this kind of technique on the edge, like fairy hair and animals. You see here with the this is a dark color of our cat, but still there is some shadow and light here, and then this white color is visible here. So we need to slowly do them. So very gently I use tip of brush to shape this dark color and move on to play with the lighter color here to make look like the fairy hair in animal. Even on the other side as well, we can just work on it. I just go with the tip to shape like that, and then move down. So if you add more water in your paint get lighter. If you want just darker, move on with the pure paint, very less water in the paint, in the brush, and then you can bring some more darkness in the surface like that. You don't need to bring very dark color everywhere, just some brush stroke when the surface is wet and can blend together would be okay. Payne's gray is one of the colors that it's so useful. Even in dark painting, it's so useful if you're interested to have more darker paint, like dark this cat, and even any other colors, any other painting which is dark. I recommend this color to have it. So so far so good now. And then a little bit water I'm going to add because I would like to have lighter gray, and move on this section. So the same color, but here is lighter, here is darker, because I use the water in the brush. And then apply with the pure paint again. For this part, which is close to the hand, I'm going to add more darker tone. And even when the surface is wet, very gently and nicely they go into each other, shape very well, and more like a real cat body happen in here. Like that. And then I think we can apply this part because there are no limitation. Here is completely dry, but for first wash I'm going to add a little bit water in the same color that I'm going to use. Doesn't matter, brown and blue or gray, but a little bit more watery. Now I use hold the hair of brush because this is a bigger part, and I try very gently apply on most of the part that we can see. And even when you go like that, this brush stroke, which is dry brush stroke, happen, and which is so nice. You can keep some part be visible like that. And then move down. When it shows the tail is come like this here, close to the body. Okay, so far so good. And then I don't want to let this part get dry. Immediately move on with darker tone. Darker tone means any color if you make with the blue or brown, or if you use just a gray color that you already have. Darker mean is not actually no water, or even very less water, and more pigment. So we already can see this difference. And even I just go with the play in some part with this paint. I don't want to cover all this dark color on my cat body because I would like to keep some beautiful light color that it already has. But with some playing with the brush stroke, I try to make the body more look like the reality. And as much as I can, I use the technique. This is the wet on, actually a little bit more close to dry and dry brush stroke. Try not to use a lot of water, so it's dry brush more, and even the surface is a little bit dry, so kindly dry by dry technique happen. And then further I try to use hold the hair of brush to show this movement, and I'm not adding a lot dark paint everywhere. Even here, just one brush stroke that shows the separation of body and tail. And this is the tail. Even if you go like this, it's just a brush stroke with dry brush. This movement show very nicely. And even a little bit separation between these two hands I would like to have, and even here. And yeah, that's the body or even we have a little bit lighter tone here, so we can add some more darkness. But when I add now, here is dry completely. When I add, this is just separate from each other and the edge creates, so there is some way to disappear this edge. That's the clean brush, wet brush. Touch the napkin again, back to this paint and try to touch the edge, so it's already make it fade. So this is about the technique on watercolor of the dark background, dark cat. And now we can apply, actually we need to wait get dry, then apply the rest. I think it's okay to move on with the eyes because the face is already dry. Okay, now it's fine. Now for the eyes, I prefer to move on with with the smaller brush stroke. That's more gentle and more easy to do. And if you see, the eyes are a little bit like a yellowy green color. So I prefer to add some color like that in his eyes. So I am going to mix a little bit yellow ochre here with light green or any green. It already gave me something like light green color. And for small part, I am not adding any so much water in my brush stroke. I try to use less water. And I'm going to add a tone, this color around the oval shape, which I call the pupil, like that. I'm not worried about the white that we have inside the eyes, so it's okay. We can go for that one later by acrylic paint. And just clean the brush because the green is so wet. I'm not adding any black on top, and I'm going to add the pinky color of nose. So this is the nose, and I'm going to add a little bit pink and the red into that, mix together. So the nose is so tiny here, and I'm going to very gently light the color, just reduce the amount of water with napkin, and like a drawing with the tip of narrow brush, I'm going to draw the shape of the nose here, so light. And even when I want to fade the background, I try to very gently add the water, and even always napkin helpful. Touch the napkin and just a little bit disappear this hard edge when you're coming from the top and the white part to the bottom part of the nose. I'm not adding any hole now because it gets a little bit dark, like that. This is a pinky part. Even the center should become a little bit down, like this. And then with this small brush, I'm going to add the light color, the grayish color. And on this part, draw one narrow line here, and then with gentle curve from both sides, it can give me the shape of mouth. And even I can make it a little bit darker here. A little bit darker here. And yeah, I can wait get dry and then move on for the rest. But I think so far so good to apply for the eyes. So back to the pure grayish color, I'm going to add the nice C curve on top, and then I would like to add a little bit darker tone so it's separate from the rest of the face, so it's really dark. And then apply the pupil with this dark color. I'm not worried about the shine that we have, We will do that later by the white color. This is about the shape of this, and I'm going to add a little bit curve here. Even this part. And the round shape up here. So I keep it get dry, and then I'm going to add the light color of the shine later on top. Even the nose, a little tiny hole both sides, so tiny. And even we can add some darkness here with some brush stroke. Even dry brush stroke would be great when you want to work more on top. And even dry brush stroke to add some like that make the fairy hair on animals. With this dry brush, even under the eye would be a good choice to do. I think this eye should be a little smaller, so add a little bit darker tone here close to that. Yeah, and then clean the brush. Maybe a little tone I need to bring, even with the brownie tone here. Or blue, add to this. Use enough water. I just prefer to have more dark color under the cheek, under the chin actually. With some brush stroke, randomly, even some white watery brush stroke, we can make this. And even both sides of this part is dark too. Like here, some brush stroke and some here on the other side. Then I will wait for apply the whiskers. Anytime you're interested to have a dry brush stroke, need less water, more pigment. Okay, and now I'm going to apply with the bigger size of brush a little bit some dark color here inside this ear and a little bit on this ear. Then I wait get dry to apply the lighter color on top. So far so good, like that. I think would be enough. Yeah, that's better. And then we need to apply for the background. Now for background we need to make lots of paint with the bigger size of brush first. This is a lots of bluey tone here and a little bit more reddish brown here, and we already have this grayish color in our brush stroke, so we just make this colors ready. So watery, just clean the brush a little bit and add the water on the background, and just add a little bit more. It's better to do one by one if you like, but it depends on the size of the paper. So I apply so light on this side of the paper and add the tone on it. Even the blue color will here a little more, and at the same time if you want to add more tone you can apply with more wet brush here, and at the same time with some napkin you can just touch this and reduce the amount of paint and even come down to make it darker on the body when we are close to here, like that. Just add more stroke on this side and then a little bit here. And then we can apply a little more watery stroke on this part, a little here too. And apply with the brown. Even we can play again by napkin, touch some part. Just give us a nice movement. And even a little bit darker tone at the same time. When it's wet, we can add here. And then even with blue. Then I can bring more dark color, even watery dark color. One stroke into body when it's close to the background to fade this body move into the background. That's the nice movement. Like that. That is helpful to fade with the background. And sometimes the blue and brown, it's nice to have it here. Like this. And I think would be enough. We don't need to add more on the background. We can apply for whiskers and the details inside the eyes, and then see what we need to apply more. So first of all, I'm going to draw the very dark whiskers, and then this is the dark grayish color with a very narrow brush stroke, and I'm going to clean it by napkin, touch by napkin, and it happened just one time. We don't have to repeat it. Just put and let it move to the background. And if you want to have a clear one, it's better to be watery brush stroke and just happen randomly one time. Even if get a little bit thicker or move into each other would be okay. And sometimes it's easier to turn the paper on the other side for the other side of whiskers. And you see, when the background is wet, they blend to the background, and it's nice. That's about this. And now I'm going to add a little bit like a dot into this part. And then I'm going to add some light and shine into the eyes. So a little bit dark we can add here and there. And even a little bit dark here. But just for the lighter tone, we need to apply by the white of gouaches, so, or even acrylic, not the watercolor, because we have no more watercolor white to sit on top, and should have some opaque color to sit. So clean the brush. This is the acrylic white color, or even the gouaches, any of them you have would be fine. And just a bit paint I would like to apply to draw the shine here. Put the shine here, one there, and even here, one here, one here. It depends how much line you would like to have on top of the dark tone. Even apply one stroke here, I see one here. It's nice to have some movement even inside this part, on top of this part. I would like to have some, and then I would like to have one like a line here, or even we can bring some from this into the out to the body to make it more look like a fairy hair. Even if we go with the watery brush, even the acrylic watery brush, we can make some nice movement on top of the ear, inside the ear as well. Make more fairy here, even inside this ear. You can feel which kind of things is easy to do. It depends. Sometimes it's okay to go with heavy and thick paint. Sometimes it's okay to add the water into the even white color, and then draw a narrow line very gently onto the face, close to the eye, and even some here, some there. It depends. So a little bit here. Just play with the cat, even here, body and face. We have the white color can sit on top of the watercolor because it's acrylic opaque, so you can do more play with the paint, even shape like this, more make it more fairy. And on top of the, but I'm going to do this by actually with smaller brush strokes, so which is nice. And even some like that. It's so liney, it's not thick. That's the brush I normally use for signature, so this is good for the details that I'm interested to do. So I think we are okay with that. Yeah, maybe a little bit darker tone here, darker gray, a little more space give us for the eye. And even I would like to bring a little bit nose and then mouth higher. Like this. And even a little bit higher here. But I'm not adding just the pure white. It's already mixed with the grayish color and give me a nice result. Like this. And yep, we can call our painting is done. And we are happy with it. If anytime happy with the painting, you can stop the adding the color. So I'm not happy with this straight line here, just a bit, make it more in angle. And then yeah, I can color it down, and so far I'm happy with my cat. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And again, thanks for joining me. Hope to see you next time. Bye for now.